Hello everyone and welcome back to Carvenus 14. Now today we are going to be talking about Venti's character story quest. We are carrying on our playthrough of Genshin Impact, and yeah, like I said, but today we're going to be talking about Venti. So yeah, Venti's character story quest starts off like this. So Venti, as we all know, is the animo. Oh, before we do carry on, those of you who have not actually played through the main story yet, you do want to turn away right now, because let's just say there's going to be a very, very, very heavy spoiler in this. That was really odd. I have no idea what that was. Quality must have dipped. It definitely dipped. Alright, we're watching this in 480p now. It should adjust sooner or later, so don't worry about it. Alright. So anyway, carrying on with, okay, this is getting painful now. No, it's it's not bad. Anyway, carrying on. So, Venti's character story quest starts off like this. So, it starts off with the whole imaginary friends thing. So, apparently, there is a, what is it? Oh, Traveler dies, yep. And, basically, basically, not the Traveler dies, I've lost my flow now. So, basically, what happens is, it starts off with the whole thing of imaginary friends. So, what is it? Venti basically gets a device from Lisa, who imported it from Sumeru. Now, for those of you that don't know Sumeru, Sumeru is the desert region that's supposed to be coming after the Inazuma region. Yeah, it's supposed to be coming after the Inazuma region. And in that region, well, it's just full deserts. Now, some people do speculate what kind of kingdom it's going to be, and apparently it's supposed to be the Dendro region, which makes no sense because, you know, desert is the complete opposite of the Dendro element, but I digress. We move on to Venti's story. So, yeah, the device has been imported from Sumeru, and Venti tests it out on some people. So he tests it out on Timmy, he tests it out on Flora, find out they both have imaginary friends. Timmy, one being, well, a ruin guard, sorry. And yeah, then we move on to adults and see if they have any imaginary friends. Apparently they don't. And then they come across this traveler called Stanley. Now Stanley, if you don't know, is a adventurer who is, well, he's basically a legend in Mondstadt. He's a living legend. Yeah, he's a very famous traveler for who he is. And well, we basically you know, talk to Jack, who's actually taking lessons from Stanley, and Stanley basically you know, tells Jack that if you want to be the strong adventurer that you aspire to be, you're going to need to well, find the... There's a sword and a shield. Both of Vanessa's weapons. Yeah, I can't remember the name. For some reason, Sword of the Creator's coming to my mind, which it probably isn't. Those of you who are cultured will know what I mean when I say the Sword of the Creator. For those of you who don't know, I won't say. Go ask your friends. Now, moving on. Basically, the Sword of the Creator is just a weapon that Byleth used. Well, it's Byleth's weapon in Fire Emblem Three Houses. Carrying on. That was a very cool toss, not gonna lie. But carrying on. I've said that about 50 times. I need to stop getting sidetracked. Anyway, so yeah, when we do collect the Sword of the Creator, sorry, the sword, sorry, the Sword and the Shield. Stanley tells us, oh, we did a good job. And yeah, we basically carry on with our lives. We go back to the tavern where we actually meet a depressed Stanley. And yeah, we basically eavesdrop on who Stanley really is. And in all honesty, we did know this a little bit before, but we knew that Stanley, well, Stanley wasn't really Stanley, if you know what I mean. So the Stanley that we know is actually someone else called Hans Archibald. And he's actually pretending to be Stanley so that he can carry on Stanley's, well, dream of, you know, basically making him live through not live through, but, you know, live as a legend in Mondstadt. Now, if you don't know what happened to Stanley, Stanley basically died on one of his expeditions along with Hans. Now, Stanley actually died saving Hans. So, yeah, Hans thinks it's his responsibility to actually, you know, carry on living for Stanley and tell and spread the word of who Stanley really is. And the way he thinks he can do that is by, well, obviously pretending to be Stanley. So, yeah. Of course, Venti finds this out after revealing himself to Hans himself as Barbados, the Animo Archon. And yeah, once Stanley lets go of, you know, this whole fake personality that he's trying to do with Stanley, he realizes that he wasn't himself at all. He just wasn't himself. So now that Hans's soul has been let go and given to Venti, he can actually move on with life and, you know, carry out spreading Stanley's tales and adventures, but as Hans Archibald, not as Stanley. So yeah, and that's basically it. Well, for Hans's story. Now, Venti's story epilogue, as you could call it, is basically when he tells the traveler of, you know, what form Venti took on right now. Because as we all know, 2,000 years ago, during the Archon War, all the Archons weren't really, well, as the Archons that we see right now. The Archon War, obviously, they were all either creatures or wisps. Now, Venti was a wisp. So, yeah, he was a wisp, and he didn't really have a form. Now, he did have a friend who was also a bard and looked exactly like Venti, just without the whole green vibe going to him. So, yeah. Now, he was a bard, so he played songs, obviously, and he had a lyre with him. Now, during the Archon War, when he died, obviously Venti couldn't accept it. He didn't go into a rage fit or anything, but yeah, he decided to carry on living as his friend, the bard, who he knew 2,000 years ago during the Archon War. And he explains to us in that similar case and scenario, he felt as if he could relate to Stanley a lot because he tried to pretend to be someone who he wasn't. And yeah, really, it's quite an emotional story. In fact, out of all of the stories that I'm definitely going to be talking about, I think Venti's story and Zhongli's story are definitely the most emotional ones. So yeah, because I mean, obviously it makes sense. They're immortals. They've like had to live through a lot of, you know, pain and suffering. They've lost a lot of people around them. Like seriously, when I play Genshin Impact and hear Zhongli's quotes, it's just, you know, it brings a tear to my eye. Realizing how lonely he really is in this time. But yeah, anyway, enough of that. That's basically been Venti's story, guys. Now, next story is Mona's story, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I have been Carvenus14 and still am, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.